Warning: if you are susceptible to any of these symptoms of seeing Polish, please proceed with caution and be advised. Stroke, seizures, migraines, and spontaneous combustion. Thank you for listening to this public safety announcement. Rzeczywistość. Zabawną do mojej historii kraju mojego zezewieństwa. Polska ma nadzieję, że moi polscy dzieciakowie nie będą obrazami, zaśniętymi. Or, hello everyone, welcome to my history on one of the countries of my own heritage, Poland. I hope that my Polish ancestors will not be offended by this video. Let's begin. In 2018, at the Jaskinia Ciemna, or the Dark Cave in Poland, the finger bones or phalanges of a Neanderthal girl were discovered. These bones were dated to be 115,000 years old, or in other words, older than Dick Van Dyke, but not as old as Bob Barker. These bones would officially become the oldest human remains ever found in Poland. Beginning in 10,000 BCE or 12,000 years ago and ending in about 4,500 BCE or 6,500 years ago was the Neolithic period. During this time, in Poland, a unique prehistoric culture emerged. Known as the linear pottery culture, it saw a ridiculous amount of pottery being made and the odd burial tradition of burying women and children under the floorboards of homes and dumping men's bodies into the wilderness. Weird people. With the end of the Neolithic period in 4500 BCE also came the disappearance of the linear pottery culture, as they failed to adopt the newest, greatest, and most advanced technology, the iPhone. No, bronze. Speaking of bronze, in 3100 BCE, or 5,100 years ago, a new age named after the most precious commodity scavenged for began, the Bronze Age. If you were to visit Bronze Age Poland, you would find some new cultures, the main one being the Lusatian culture. These people are known for their prototype forts, which can still be found in Poland today. They also made many bowls and eating so many frogs. Frogs to the Lusatians are like videos of babies eating lemons on Facebook. They can't survive without each other. Seriously, what's wrong with you people? Anyways, the Bronze Age will last for another 2,800 years until 300 BCE, when an entirely new people arrived in Poland. Around 4 or 300 BCE, coinciding with the end of the Bronze Age, was the beginning of the Iron Age, and the arrival of a group most people forget about after school, the Celts. Once in Poland, the Celts here became part of the so-called Latine culture. I'll let you guess what they're known for making. The Celts would soon be joined by the Germanic tribes from west of Poland around 250 BCE. However, the first distinctively Proto-Polish culture emerged in this intermission of time, the Przeworsk. This culture would not really do anything other than surprisingly coexist with the Romans to the south. By 435, the Przeworsk had been slaughtered by a group from Central Asia you may know as the Huns, led by Attila. But the Przeworskan, the Slavs, made their way into Poland. You can thank the Slavs for making Polish look like this. In 960, the Polish established their first country, the Duchy of Poland. After it was established, the Piast dynasty came to the throne, beginning with Mieszko I. During his reign in 965, Mieszko I agreed to be baptized, beginning the Christianization of Poland. Mieszko I would be succeeded by his son Bolesław the Brave. He would further implement Christianity in Poland and would meet several times with the current Holy Roman Emperor Otto III. Bolesław also fought with the Kingdom of Germany. Following the next Duke of Poland, Casimir I, who has a beard so long I can't fit it in this frame, came Bolesław II. He hated Bishop Stanislav of Szczepanów, and he had him killed, causing Bolesław to be excommunicated for adultery. Later on came the last important Duke of Poland for this video's case, Bolesław III. Upon his death in 1138, he released the so-called Testament of 1138, which divided Poland into 7 provinces. This would not be a decision for the better. In 1295, Duchess of Miseval II tried to reunite Poland after Bolesław's disastrous choice at splitting up Poland. He was partially successful, getting the title King of Poland, although he didn't get to enjoy it for long as he would soon drop dead. In 1306, King Władysław I, who also had an enormous beard, became king of the new kingdom of Poland. Upon him becoming king, he would also get a new migraine. The new longtime enemy of Poland, the Order of the Teutonic Knights. You see, Poland fought alongside the Teutonic Knights against the pagans in the north. Doing so caused the Teutonic Knights to grow weary of the new kingdom of Poland, and so they began fighting for what would become centuries. However, after the reign of Queen Jadwiga, the kingdom of Poland merged with the rulers of Lithuania, ending the first kingdom of Poland. The kingdom of Poland would soon be replaced with the second kingdom of Poland, and gain a new line of kings. The last queen of the first kingdom of Poland, Jadwiga, married Grand Duke Jogaila of Lithuania, establishing a new dynasty, the Jogalian. By 1400, the Teutonic Knights had become so annoying to the king of Poland that war began. By 1409, the Polish-Lithuanian Teutonic War began. See that fast 10 times. The largest battle in it was the Battle of Grunwald on July 15, 1410. By the Treaty of Thorn in 1411, the war was over. Poland won. As a result, the Order of the Teutonic Knights would fade into the history books. While on the topic of war, a new enemy of Poland was advancing in the south. In 1443, under King Władysław III of Poland, Poland would lead the so-called Crusade of Varna against the invading Ottoman Empire. It was a disaster for Poland, as their king was killed and the Ottomans won. As a result, Poland would have to defend its southern border to make sure the Ottomans didn't get any ideas. Later on, from 1454 to 1466, the 13 Years' War, even though it was only 12 years, began. It was fought over rebellions led by whoever was left of the Teutonic Knights. Poland won, and the remnants of the Teutonic Knights would have to give Western Prussia to Poland. I don't know why they would complain. They already live in the largest medieval castle in the world, Malbork. By 1500, Poland entered its golden age, known as the Renaissance in Poland. During this time, one of the most important Poles in history, Nicholas Copernicus, began going against Catholic doctrine, stating that he believed in the heliocentric model, which states that the sun is the center of the solar system. Also in the 1500s, more specifically in 1569, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was founded. In 1587, the Swedish-based Vasa dynasty took control of this new country, beginning with the rule of King Sigismund III. In 1605, Poland became enemies with Russia. That's, in general, not a good sign in history. And so, war broke out. Now known as the Polish-Muscovite War, Poland and Russia fought until 1618, with Poland winning somehow. In 1697, Poland came under the Germanic rule of the House of Wettin, still in the Commonwealth. However, from 1700 to 1721, in the Great Northern War, Poland was destroyed by Russia, ultimately leading to the decline and later fall of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth in 1795. Ever since the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth fell in 1795, many Poles felt like they no longer had a homeland. One of those Poles, Jan Dąbrowski, who the Polish national anthem is named and based for, would fight for Napoleon in exchange for some Polish nation. That came in 1807 as the Duchy of Warsaw. However, by 1815, Poland's BFF Napoleon was defeated in the Napoleonic Wars. As a result, the Duchy of Warsaw was split in three. The main part, known as Congress Poland, was established even though it was a Russian puppet state. Eventually, Polish hatred for Russia led to the November Uprising, which saw Russia become even more brutal since they defeated the Polish. During this time, Poland was left in dark times, which is when some of the greatest composers emerged, like Chopin. In 1867, Congress Poland collapsed and was split between Germany and Russia. This will become a recurring trend. Fast forward to 1914, when Archduke Franz Ferdinand was shot by a Serbian assassin. This is when World War I began. By the end of World War I in 1918, many Poles were dead. At least Poland was now independent in the Second Polish Republic. However, the worst was yet to come. In 1939, Adolf Hitler invaded Austria, beginning World War II. After fighting all over Europe, Poland would eventually see Nazi Germany and Soviet Russia invading. Poland fought very hard, but was no match for the two giants, crushing them from both sides. Once again, Poland was erased from the map. Even after 2 world wars, the worst event in human history was about to begin. That event was the Holocaust. In 1941, Adolf Hitler brazenly began sending primarily Polish Jews to egregious work camps, most notably to Auschwitz, a German death camp built in Poland. If you say it is a Polish death camp in Poland, you can be sentenced to 3 years in prison. Once here, Jews would be put under unimaginably hard labor and would then be put to death, whether it was through starvation or the awful gas chambers. But the end of World War II and the Holocaust in 1945 would come a devastating truth to the world. 1/5, or 6 million Polish people, half of which were Jews, were dead. Even the prosecution of many Nazi officials in the Nuremberg trials could not do it for Polish people. Nothing can undo the Holocaust. Even in the darkest times of human history, Poland moves forward, and it looks like they would have to do that one more time. Also in 1945 was the beginning of another evil against Poland. That year, the Soviets founded the Polish People's Republic. In the 44 years it existed, Polish people would join together to fight against the communists. With the Solidarity movement in full force and a weakening government, the Soviet Union finally had to oblige, and in 1989, Poland became an independent nation once and for all. Today, Poland is in a long period of peace, something rare when you look at Polish history altogether. Let's hope it stays that way and that the current authoritarian government of Poland can be voted out. And there was my history of Poland. Now for part 2 of the video, my cover of the Polish national anthem, Mazurek Dobrego, or Poland is Not Yet Lost. Enjoy one of my favorite national anthems. And with that, that was my history and cover of the national anthem of Poland. This took me a while to make, and I hope it was good. Sorry it's been so long since my last history video on a country, but I hope I can do more in the future. My next video will be a biography on a much more modern figure for once. That figure is Whitney Houston. Her biography will come out on August 9th. Dzięki na oglądanie, or thanks for watching.